What we do here is go back.
Okay, and hopefully we are somewhat live. Hopefully you can hear me and see me. Have I turned my microphone on? Yes, I have. Good evening, everybody. Mike here, Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To. Welcome back after our brief hiatus last week, where I did my back in again. Hopefully you can hear me. Please let me know. There seems to be quite a delay on the stream chat, or at least on the stream itself. So do let me know. Make sure you can hear me. All good? Thank you. Excellent stuff. Hello Mark Barry, hello Raleigh, hello Aletta, Skystalker, how are you? David Underhill, Nicholas Barlow. Good to see you. Mike is live and hopefully well. Yeah, not too bad, getting better. Hopefully it's Dutch Jan says sound low again. Let me adjust that a little bit. Where are we? Stream mic. Oh no, we are at the full volume. Hang on a second. Open volume mixer. Where are we? Volume input device. Microphone. Oh, where's the adjustment for the microphone now? They're moving things around. I don't like it.
Not everything.
Yeah. Right, let's see if we can change that. Sound settings, maybe? There we go. Microphone. Let's give that a bit more volume. There, up to 100%. There we go. Is that any better? Let me know. Is that better? Sound okay? Hopefully it's not clipping. Let me know what the deal is. I'm not too sure if I feel hot or cold today. It's one of those weird days. It's 22.7 degrees Celsius here in the studio. Just feels a little bit, yeah, feels weird today. Not too sure. I think it's a change in the weather. William says now it's too high. Let me, I'll drop it down a little bit. Sound settings, where are we? Microphone. Is that the one? Volume, yes.
You boys want to go out?
I'll leave it at 95. There we go. Let's see how we get on with that. Yes. Nick Barnes says it's been warm today. Now it's too high. Sounds a bit loud, slight clipping. Hopefully it's okay. We'll make do with it. If it's awful, let me know. But it should be reasonably okay. So yeah, for those of you that didn't know, yeah, I managed to do my back in. I was getting ready for work. Not last Sunday, the Sunday previously. And I don't know what it is, it's the stupidest things. I was doing DIY in the house, painting the ceilings and moving things around for some work we've been having done here. And Sunday morning, woke up to go to the shop for work and got up, had a shower, getting my trousers on, and for some reason, just pulling one of my trouser legs on, something tweaked in my back. And it was like, oh my God, that is painful. Really bad, like I had to kind of really gingerly kind of get into a different position. It's like, oh crap, that's not good. And then I was like hobbling around, but I had to go to work because there's no one to cover, etc. So I went in and I was like, every time I moved, it's like it was twinging again on the nerve. And I work in a car shop, for those of you who don't know, and we install things like wiper blades, bulbs, batteries, etc. And I was trying to get through the day, and there was just one guy who wanted a car battery in this really old Rover. I think it's a Rover 800 series, might be something smaller, but it's an old car anyway. kind of late 80s car. And trying to get the battery in, I was there trying to do it, and I was like trying to support myself on the bonnet and the wing and that, and trying to do this stuff. And it's just like, I said to him, look mate, I'm sorry, I really can't do this. This is just destroying my back. So I gave up, went back inside, and I did it again, tweaked my back again when I went inside. And then for the rest of the week, it was just like gradually getting better. I called in sick on the Sunday, didn't do the stream on the Saturday because obviously it's really uncomfortable sitting in this chair for too long. And yeah, on the, was it the Saturday? It might have been the Friday or the Saturday, I'm not too sure which day it was.
Before the plaster came again, so
that
well,
Monday.
Tuesday.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, one of the days, the back was getting better. I was starting to get a bit more mobile, and did basically exactly the same thing again. Went and had a shower. It was kind of a little bit awkward, and put my trousers on, and I did it again. And I was like, oh no, calf, you never believe it. I've done it again. And I was even worse trying to get down the stairs, like one step at a time, really being careful was not to jolt with my back again. And then spent about 2 or 3 days just let out on the settee, trying to recover and rest my back and allow it to try and naturally heal itself. I don't like taking pills and tablets, painkillers, because they're just masking the pain and you probably end up doing worse damage anyway. So yeah, I was trying to nurse my way through it. I've still got a little bit of discomfort there in my lower back, but it's yeah, it kind of is what it is. You can't not do anything for an extended amount of time in this modern life. So yeah, Rick H says, I think you might need a better chair to sit on. That is, yeah, very much a problem. It's what we do here is, I don't get a lot of exercise, let's be fair. And most of my time is sat in front of the computer, sat here doing a stream, or I normally film my B-roll, as most of you know from the videos. So I kind of on this side of the desk with the products kind of like here, doing all the close-ups from there. So I'm kind of leaning over, stretching into it all the time. And it's not the ideal solution. I really should get like a stand desk or something so I can do it all in a normal standing position rather than sitting. But limited space, it's just very difficult to do and to make it work for how we operate from our home essentially. So yeah, not good. Is getting better. So if for any reason you see me do like a funny face, or I say, oh shit, or I just say something I shouldn't do, it's because I've just tweaked something in my back and it is a little bit uncomfortable. So I need to take care of myself. Mookie MC says, I think he needs a new pair of trousers. Well, funnily enough, I have had this before in the past where a particular pair of trousers, wearing them, whether it's because the band was in a certain place on my back and or not supporting it or whatever,
Have them on.
I don't know what it was, but at the time when I did it, I didn't have them on. So I did get myself a pair of Levi's 514s or 511s or whatever they were. I think I said in a couple of streams. So I got myself a pair of Levi's, and basically since I had those jeans, that is when I started getting my back problems. So I've reverted back to a different pair of jeans today. So hopefully I don't do it again. So hopefully those jeans aren't going to trigger more back pain for me. But we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it's going to be okay. I basically need to do more kind of exercises for my need to do more exercises to strengthen my back, some like core work and that sort of stuff. But it's obviously one of those things that is, I've always suffered with it because of overdoing it through previous jobs, working in a builder's yard, also working in a prop store, moving furniture and stuff, where I was probably lifting and moving stuff that I shouldn't have done because it was too heavy. And over the years, you basically damage yourself and you get kind of weaknesses. So I do need to do something with it. So anyway, yeah, that's where we are. Unfortunate. I have been trying to make some content in the meantime. There'll be a few videos coming out where it'll be just the like screen recording, stuff like that, because it's been difficult for me to sit here and actually have the camera on and not kind of look like a robot or look like I'm in desperate pain. And I don't want to put you through that, so there will be some videos out there like that. Of course, I have been trying to keep up with the news where possible, like checking out what's going on online. And obviously the Windows 24 H2 has been a thing, and I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of you who've got your thoughts and opinions on the new version of Windows 11, or maybe there's some of you who are still steadfast going to stay on Windows 10 until it breathed its last kind of sigh of desperation. But I think we are starting to see more people taking or using Windows 11. The Steam hardware surveys are starting to show that there is an increase. So I personally like Windows 11. I've been using it basically since it came out when it was in beta, and also the release candidates through the Microsoft Insider program. And I've got to be honest with you, I've been overall pretty happy with it. Yes, it's got a few quirks and some things like the AI features and the intrusive advertising and telemetry and stuff. It's in there, but there are things you can do to mediate that. Obviously, we've done numerous videos on how to get around those types of things. So yeah, it's it kind of is what it is. I think realistically, a lot of people do say like, oh, I'm not going to go to Windows 11, I'm going to move to Linux, or I'm going to stay on Android, or I'm going to go to a Mac or whatever. Do what works for you. Essentially, I like, well, like's probably a strong word. I take advantage of the fact that Microsoft have such a wide blanket coverage in terms of the gaming market, the PC market, the software market, and all that kind of stuff. And it's what I'm used to. So it's going to be hard to go to anything different. Yes, there are some older operating systems, Windows 7, Windows 10, which do feel more clean, I suppose you would say. But there's ways that you can make Windows 11 a lot cleaner should you need to. So I don't think it's quite as big of a deal as it could have been. I am very pleased to see that they didn't release Microsoft Recall as part of the Windows 11 24H2 release. I think that was a sensible solution, not cramming in all that stuff. I think that would have been a step too far for a lot of people, and it does appear that Recall will be one of those things which can be opted out of, although for fresh installations for the next release, that will be a default kind of thing to be turned on. Most people, I think at the moment, because of how new it is, will be just doing updates from the previous, what was it, 23H2 to 24H2. So most of you will probably see minimal differences. Now I have to say, of the two PCs that I use daily, my editing PC and the streaming PC, both of them are currently on 24H2, and I will say the Intel system actually did seem to be considerably snappier. Straight after the upgrade, it just seemed really nice and snappy, and it seems to be working very well. I have been lucky enough to not suffer with any of those blue screens of death that some people have been reporting. That does appear to be mostly for 10th and 11th gen Intel with certain audio chipsets. So those systems will probably not be able to upgrade to 24H2 quite yet until those problems are ironed out. There was a similar issue with 23H2 with, I think it was the IST, Intel Sound Technology or something. So anyway, there you go. Yes, Kath?
It's not really a question, the ordinary dude. It's the last one.
Ordinary dude. Mike, set up Windows 11 with an answer file and it can be streamlined with little effort. Yes, that is very true. You can make your own answer files and configure Windows 11 to be kind of as intrusive or as locked down as you like, if you can be bothered. Which is, I think that's ultimately what it is. Can people be bothered? Most people don't. There's probably about, well, single digit figures, probably less than 5% of people that actually make any changes to Windows whatsoever. Most people just go with the default installation that comes out of the factory or comes out of the box, or the default installation files, install their chipset drivers and software, and that is basically it. So there is a vocal group of people that don't like these changes, but realistically most people, the majority of actual consumers, either don't know or couldn't care less. So we are the sort of the silent, well, not silent, we're the vocal minority, and I don't think Microsoft are going to listen to many of us unless it starts drastically affecting sales, which realistically, being as we are enthusiasts and a relatively small group, it's unlikely to change much. But anyway, we'll see what it is. Kath's standing over there, so that means she wants to get the super chats done.
I don't want to, it's rude not to.
So let's get those done. Some of you kind people have put some super chats in already, and let's see if I can actually find them. Where are we? Yes, scroll.
Let's do Ugly Bob first of all.
I think, yeah, Ugly Bob sent in one. He's currently travelling around the Greek islands, so nice one, Ugly Bob. So you won't see him in the chat this evening, but he did send us a £20 PayPal donation. So thank you very much, Ugly Bob. Much appreciated, and hopefully you're having some much needed rest and recuperation. And we look forward to seeing you when you return. He's probably going to be away for about a month or so, I think. So he's taking an extended leave, but all the best, and hopefully you have a great time. And there was another super chat, I think, or...
Yes, there were.
I don't know why it's not showing on my thing. Let's have a look in viewer activity. There we go. Mick Woods coming with a super chat of £10. Says, hi everybody, good to see my favourite stream back this week. I wish it could show you on there so I could get up on the screen, but I can't. I hope Mike is feeling better. Yeah, I'm not doing too bad. Thanks for asking, Mick. Much appreciated. Yeah, thank you very much. Just stick a like on there because I haven't done already. Or will it let me? No, it won't.
I think I did.
And Rick H is coming with another $5 super chat. It says Disco, 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 taking over from Bob there. I don't know why that isn't showing on my chat feed there. But it's not showing it from until after 8:22, so I'm not sure where they are. Something's obviously gone wrong there. But anyway, thank you all for joining us on this stream. It won't be anything exciting, potentially, unless you're into keyboards and mice or talking trash about Windows. I think a lot of us kind of like to be able to do that. There is also another donation there, which I can't quite see, from Jan. Sent us £16 and threepence. Just like that. Thank you very much, Jan. That is going to be Dutch Jan, I guess. Yeah. I don't want to say the surname because you don't want to give people's details out, but when you get a PayPal donation, it comes through with obviously the email address attached and the name attached. So thank you very much. Much appreciated. Was there another one?
Nope, that's it.
No, that was it. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so yeah, everything's good. Let's make sure that the other cameras are working. So the overhead camera, yeah, that is working. No weird stuff going on there. Excellent. And the stream camera, yep, you can see that as well. That is working. We may well need that shortly. You see how much there is a delay on there. It's actually quite difficult to work with. Party blooper, or party blower, blower. And the coin drops, they're all working. And also my Stream Deck is showing the right things now. I've still been having troubles with Stream Deck. Just a quick update for those of you that are interested. Probably no one is, but I'll go for it anyway. There seems to be an inherent fault with Stream Deck from Elgato and the integration with YouTube. So I'm still at the point now where every single time I turn on the computer, or almost every single time I turn on the computer, I have to re-register my YouTube account with the Elgato software for the Elgato buttons to actually work. The normal ones work for OBS and stuff like that. That works flawlessly, no problems at all. But for some reason, yeah, that's still been going on. They sent me an email, I think it was early last week. I've been elevated up to a few different levels of technical support trying to get this problem fixed, and the fixes that they have offered, I have then made videos on just in case it helps anybody else and it maybe resolves their problem either long-term or temporarily. But they've come back to me and said, look, it looks like this is going to be a much deeper rooted problem, so we're going to take some time to take a look at it and we'll be in touch with you when we have any news, which I think basically means piss off. I'm not too sure, but I think that is the kind way of saying we don't know and we can't help you, so please stop emailing us. So we'll see what happens there. Oh yeah, it's unfortunate, but that's the way it goes sometimes. You can't have your cake and eat it, unfortunately, as they say. And Kath's got her hand up for something.
8:36 Fortnite Grass.
8:36 Fortnite Grass. Let's have a look. Fortnite Grass. Oh yeah. Hey Mike. Any Thermaltake case fans on your radar? You're reviewing. That's easy for me to say. No, not at the moment. To be honest with you, because of being in some pain and also having work done on the house at the same time and life going on as it is, I've not been paying as close attention to things on the market as I should have done. Although somebody did actually mention in the comments on one of the videos that there is some new Thermaltake case fans out which are like an upgraded version, like a V2 or V3 of some of their previous version. So I'm kind of interested to see what that is going to be, seeing what that's all going to be about. we will be having a look at that. But no, I'll say, in all honesty, not really. Nothing has really come up on my radar. I have been reached out. Actually, funnily enough, I think the last time we spoke in a live stream, I was saying that there's a couple of companies which have ghosted me and have basically not been in contact, and yeah, that's just been it. At least two of them, there were more than I said in the previous one, but I've forgotten about some of them because it's been so long. But a couple of them actually reached out, and well, three of them actually have reached out reasonably recently. So our friends over at Arctic, they've reached out and asked if I wanted to review certain products, which I haven't replied to yet because I'm not entirely sure how I feel about doing that now. Also, our friends at GameMax UK have reached out. They've got a couple of new cases coming out to the UK market, which seem to be really nice bargain basement entry-level cases with plenty of RGB bling and tempered glass and all that kind of stuff that I know you guys generally do like. So potentially we'll be taking a look at some new GameMax cases, see how that goes. I want to know what the prices are going to be first of all, because I think with the GameMax cases, some of them that kind of look cheap, they need to be cheap. Otherwise, it's not really worth reviewing them because there's so much competition on the market at the moment in terms of the kind of the lower end of cases. MSI are doing some really good deals at the moment. The Mag Force or Forge 100R is currently 45 quid, pretty much everywhere. That's a great little case with a couple of addressable RGB fans included. Not everyone's cup of tea in terms of styling, but for me, great case. Yeah, done very well on the channel as well. And I've used one as my daily driver for a numerous amount of, well, I was going to say numerous months, but I think it was probably more than that. I think I used it for, getting on for almost a year, the MSI Mag Forge 100R. And I really did like that case. I think the only thing I didn't like about it was that it was hard to get the replacement fans. Then I found somewhere to get them from for 5 quid each, and it was pretty awesome. So yeah, that was, that was that. So GameMax have been in touch after being ghosted for such a long time. Arctic as well. And Inwin, believe it or not. Inwin have actually reached out and they've got some new fans coming, which are daisy chainable fans using USB Type-C nonetheless. So yeah, actually quite interested to see that. Not USB-C in terms of connection to a USB-C port on your motherboard, but just the actual physical connection. And USB-C, as we know, is a really easy thing to connect because it basically can go in both ways. So yeah, they've got daisy chainable fans, so I've replied to them saying yes, I'd be very interested to see those. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what those are like when they come out. So it's nice to hear from them. Still nothing from Techware. Techware are still ghosting me on basically everywhere, even on Facebook. Any posts I put any comments on, nothing. Not a thing. They think I don't exist, or they prefer I didn't exist. And weirdly, the same thing with Antec. I keep on contacting Antec to try and get on their review site or their review cycle list, and they're like, oh yeah, just contact this email address or send an email address or send an email here and we'll see what we can do for you. And yeah, nothing. Not getting anything back at all, which is really disappointing because I really do like some of the Arctic cases which are coming out. So yeah, it is what it is, unfortunately. We'll see what we can do. Maybe get some Arctic stuff in. We'll just pay for it and get it to review it. So I think it's a nice thing to see Antec back in the market, to be fair. They were the market leaders in the early 2000s for a long, long time. But yeah, it is what it is. There's not really much I can do. If they won't reply to me, then yeah, there's nothing I can do. Other than just spend loads of money, which I'm not always keen on doing.
Arctic or Antec? I thought you said Arctic.
Arctic I said originally. Arctic have got back in touch.
Yeah, you said that, but you
but
said
Antec are still ghosting me. So yeah, I would need to buy stuff from Antec to review it.
You said Arctic.
Which is unfortunate. But there you go. Zero Defect says ask Inwin for the doubly case. Not too sure what that one is, but we'll see what happens. Inwin is a very strange company in terms of, since the whole EU thing and the UK now being in this kind of weird limbo where we're not in the EU but we are in the EU, but we're not in the EU but we are in the EU, and we're in the EU for all the things which are crap, but we're not in the EU for all the things which make it good. So yeah, the government basically screwed the pooch on that one, unfortunately. So yeah, there you go. So Yes, it is what it is. So we'll see what happens. InWin, whenever they send anything to us, it normally incurs ridiculously heavy charges for postage. So InWin is very unlikely you'll see many UK channels doing InWin reviews, unless it's something very small which is easy to post, i.e. fans. Cases, you've got no chance. So yes, there you go. I think that is pretty much it. Also, I guess really we should be discussing, even though it's probably not going to be anything exciting, but for those of you that don't know, maybe you do, it is Amazon Prime Day on the 8th and the 9th of October. So basically Tuesday and Wednesday next week is Amazon Prime Day. So if you are considering making any purchases, then it might be worth holding off for a couple of days. Generally, it tends to be the same old crap over and over. So it's basically the Alexa devices, the Echoes, basically anything which is their own brand, like the Ring stuff. Yeah, there might be some good stuff. You never know. The market is a very turbulent place at the moment. We're starting to see some significant drops actually in terms of NVMe pricing, which is always, well, I like to see NVMe prices, storage prices on the down is always a good sign. I'm slightly regretting stocking up on some drives a couple of weeks back, but hey, it is what it is. They don't tend to drop massively, but they are encouraging, I would say, in terms of pricing. And of course, if you've been paying attention to memory prices, DDR4 prices seem to be tumbling. Whether they're going to get any lower, I don't know. It seems that a lot of companies are trying to get rid of 32 gig kits now. The 16 gig kits haven't dropped massively, but they are starting to come down. There has been some really nice deals on 32 gig kits and also 2 terabyte drives rather than the standard 1 terabyte drive. So I think companies are trying to make us invest a little bit more by buying a bit more and then possibly getting a better deal. Like we do with DDR5 at the moment. If you buy DDR5, it's absolutely pointless buying 16 gig kits. They're almost the same price, if not more expensive sometimes, than their 32 gig equivalents. So some sensible buying to be going on there. Seeing what is going on. Rasher says, I bought a Blink doorbell and 3 Blink security cameras yesterday. Yeah, I think they're already on like a pre-Prime sale thing. I have actually been sent a list of things which are going to be reduced on Prime Day. Unfortunately, it is, what's the word, embargoed. So I can't share any of the deals which are coming up or specifics on prices, unfortunately, as much as I would love to. But if we do, then they will basically, if they find out, they will sue us and potentially we'll lose any of our Amazon affiliate status, which is, well, a decent amount of money when it comes to the channel. So yeah, again, you don't want to, you don't really want to upset your paymasters, such as YouTube and Amazon and all the other affiliated links companies that we work with. So have a look through chat there, see what's going on, see what else we're saying. Viali100 says, Be Quiet Light Base 900 on the website now, just waiting for stocks to appear. Nice. O'Reilly says, just had an all snap out of memory issue in my Chrome browser while watching this stream. Definitely my end. Oh, sorry to hear that. Wayne Taylor says, I still like my Johnsbow cases. Got a container full leaving Shenzhen next week. Nice. Wow, it'd be nice to buy a container of cases. That is great. Charles Ballard says, I got a new Kindle Fire a few weeks ago. I don't regret it, no matter how much cheaper I could have got it if I'd waited. Yeah, I think that is going to be one of those things. There's going to be some things which obviously will be on sale, but if you need them, then you might as well just pull the trigger. I suppose you could if you were buying from Amazon Prime. Again, I've said this loads of times. One of the benefits of Amazon Prime, as much as you may hate the company, but in terms of their 30-day returns, it's great. And quite often, if you buy something now, which is cheaper on Prime Day, you can just phone them up, or, well, you can't phone them up now, it's harder to do, but you can get in touch with them and either have an online conversation or get them to call you and say, look, I'm going to send this back because it's now like X amount of pounds cheaper. Do you want to just give me a refund for the difference, save all this faffing around and save the planet for the CO2 emissions from the vans on the streets? The choice is yours, and just leave it up to them. Generally, they're pretty good and they'll say, yeah, no problem, we'll just refund it to your Prime account in the terms of a gift voucher, which is pretty decent. So, yeah, that's pretty good. Aletta says, I for one have never feared to bite the hand that fed me. I don't necessarily fear them, but I don't really necessarily want to antagonize them. It's the thing is, like, sharing a deal which is coming up on Amazon isn't that exciting, and it certainly isn't worth losing affiliate status for, because the affiliates money is like 100 quid or so, maybe a bit more a month, and it all mounts up and it all helps to pay the bills. So yeah, I don't want to upset them too much. Honestly, it ain't worth the risk. It really isn't. Tadaman or Tadaman, whatever. I bought a 2 terabyte thick-watt Jupiter NVMe Gen 4 for 74 quid last week. Thought that was good value. Yeah, that is good. At the moment, for the UK pricing, a 1 terabyte drive shouldn't cost you more than £40 really, and a 2 terabyte shouldn't cost you more than about 80. If you can get anything less than that, then you've done well. Alessio says, I personally love Amazon. It's the only online store I buy from. I do like Amazon in terms of the service, and it does run very well. My kind of concern more is the back end things, how they treat the workers, how they pay the workers, the way they push other companies out of the market or make it harder for other companies to compete. But they're in such a powerful position, I guess it's one of those things, you don't get to be in such a powerful position by being an absolute pussy or walkover. So they have to assert some market dominance to maintain the market dominance. Let's have a look. Alexa says, Mike is a wiser person than me. I cause myself more trouble than anyone else. I used to. Kath will vouch for it. I used to say some stupid shit which used to get me into all sorts of trouble, and Kath would be like, why did you say that? And that used to happen on a regular basis. It doesn't happen so much now. Maybe it's because I don't talk to many people now. That's probably the safety blanket, not leaving the house or not going out much. Where are we? There we go. We're looking good, looking good. So yeah, it's a very turbulent time in the PC industry at the moment. There's lots of things going on. Obviously, the Nvidia side of things, they are starting to claw back some of the 4000 series. So it means that the 5000 series is becoming imminent. Whether or not anyone is interested, I don't know. It does seem there's some interesting stuff afoot at AMD also. Not sure if anyone has heard this also, but it does seem that AMD are very concerned at the moment in terms of their latest creation, the forthcoming 8000 series of GPUs. From market insiders and like warehouses and stuff like that, or people that are testing, it does appear that AMD have got a very hot potato on their hands with the 8000 series. And they are very much trying to clear all remaining stocks of 6000 and 7000 series graphics cards, because the new ones apparently are basically, well, they're not saying exact numbers, but it looks like they are going to be much faster and much cheaper. And they know for a fact if they release the 8000 series to the market whilst there is 6000 and 7000 stuff still on shelves in warehouses, it will not sell after the 8000 series launches. At least that's what we're hearing. So potentially exciting times ahead in the graphics card market if AMD can pull an absolute blinder and have some serious competition with Nvidia at really good prices. If they're concerned, because the 7000 series and 6000 series are pretty cheap, let's face it. So if they're going to be a lot faster and a lot cheaper, I think there's some potentially exciting times to come. Although they have also said that they don't have a card to compete with like the 4090 and 5090. So if they're going to try and really dominate in the low to middle section, I think that is going to be very interesting to a lot of PC gamers, myself included. So yeah, we'll be looking out to see what is going on there. Jay Barnes says, evening Kath, Mike, Feline family and everyone else. Have a lovely evening. Joe, Nick and Molly. Oh, hang on, back's going. I have to readjust myself. I'm good. Nick Barnes says, won't the rumours kill the sales anyhow? Potentially they will. The only thing is the rumours need to get out there. It's, as always, we know AMD have done this so many times where they make all these promises and they say that something's going to be absolutely amazing and it's going to be so good that you're not going to want a different graphics card after you see it, and then it comes out and we benchmark it and it basically is rubbish or sucks. So yeah, I don't know. I always take AMD rumours with a massive pinch of salt because they're normally BS. Looks like we've got another super chat coming in from Colin Hilton. Colin Hilton has sent us a £20 donation. Thank you very much, Colin. Also, Colin, bless his heart, has also donated a couple of items for us to do some videos on and also to do some giveaways. So thank you very much, Colin. Much appreciated. So we have the new Lianli 207 case coming in from, I think that's from overclockers.co.uk. That should be here early next week, I'm guessing. And also we've got an MSI portable monitor to review. So this is actually quite an interesting little portable monitor, which also has a 1/4 inch screw thread mount for mounting to tripods. So for content creators, or if you just want to have a monitor and you want to use like a normal kind of camera type stand, or like a GoPro, not a GoPro, like a Gorilla Pod, that sort of thing, to mount your monitor somewhere, that might well be of interest to you. So that will be coming shortly. So massive shout out to Colin and his amazing generosity. Thank you very much. We'll see how that goes. I'm interested to see what the Lianli 207 is like. I saw Steve from Gamers Nexus review on it, and overall is very positive. It seems to be a very good airflow case. A few little minor quirks in terms of power supply and where that fits in the new system, because they kind of rejigged the ATX form factor around a little bit more. So yeah, very interested to see what the Lianli 207 is like. I think it's going to be a hot seller. I really do. Some of the early reviews have been very positive, and it looks like a very nice case. Few strange quirks, but yeah, we'll see what it's like when it gets here. So again, thank you very much, Colin.
Postage. Do you want to say the pens still haven't gone?
Ah, yes. The post office in our local village is still closed. It's been closed for
about a month now.
3 weeks to a month now. So for those of you that are overseas and you still haven't received your Mike's Unboxing pen, our sincere apologies.
You haven't received it.
Yeah, if you haven't received it, because we haven't posted it. So don't be expecting it through your letterbox anytime soon. The UK ones we've done because we put a stamp and chuck it in the letterbox. That's good. But yeah, for anyone overseas who hasn't received their Mike's Unboxing pen, our apologies. But eventually you'll get it. Mitch is in the house, says, "Hi Mike, hope you're feeling better." Yeah, not too bad. Getting a few little creaks. It's not too bad. Dutch Jan says, "My desk is already full of monitors." You can never have enough. Aletta says, "I used to like Lianli, but not so much anymore. After owning 3 of their cases, I went back to Thermaltake." Yeah, Thermaltake cases I do like. Well, it's obvious, like I've got one there. Caps is still rocking the Game Max. What is it? I can't remember what it's called now. What is it? F15. I was thinking 215, but that's the Lianli version of it. So yeah, that's good. David Under says, "What is it? The only post office in the UK?" No, it's not. But there's one literally in our local village. The other one is a couple of mile trek.
And we went there last time. She hates us now.
Yeah,
she's lovely.
The last time we went there, we took in, I think it was about 25 to 30 packages, all little envelopes of pens and stuff like that.
That was beanie hats.
And the beanie hats, it was. Sorry, yeah. That's how long it was, the beanie hats.
I've lost my emojis on here.
And we had to go through, and yeah, it was coming up towards closing time, and there was a queue of people. I was feeling really bad, and yeah, I don't want to put her through it again. She's a lovely lady out there. But yeah, we'll see what we can do. Dutch Jan says, "Do I need more than 5 monitors then?" Yes, you need at least 6. If you haven't got 6 monitors, you're just playing. Oh dear. I've only got 1 for most of my setups, to be fair. Charles Ballard says, how can your post office be closed? Yeah, there's a weird thing in the UK. So the post office system, or the post office, was like a state-owned thing. I think it might still be partially, but it's kind of been privatised. So then it ended up that the post office branches were closed. They normally got taken over by chain stores, like your kind of Asda's, your Walmart, Morrison's, Tesco Metros, that kind of stuff. Yeah, little like McCall's, Martin's, those kind of brands. So basically your kind of late stop shops, or ones that are sell tobacco, sweets,
I think it's
stuff
to do
like
with
that.
Royal Mail, because I don't think their staff have gone through the Royal Mail procedures to be able to do it.
A lot of it comes down to training. So the one our local post office was a dedicated proper post office with a proper post office counter. They've now integrated it to their till system. So the people that run the tills have got to also do the postage, and I don't think they're trained to do it.
So post office standards or whatever.
Whatever it is, they're basically, whenever we walk past,
They're
it just
very
says,
good.
sorry,
They can do
post
it.
office is closed. So yeah, it is what it is. Wayne Taylor says, Kath, are you sure Mike ain't suffering from Shagger's back?
I'm sure he's not, unfortunately.
Did you hear that? Oh dear. Vulture UK Rich says, basically telling the post office is crap. Even though, yeah, it is. Alexa says, weird, all US post offices are owned by the federal government. So yeah, basically the same thing, because the federal government isn't a government. It's the Fed is not. The Fed is a private entity, I believe. It's not part of the Fed. Like the Federal Reserve isn't owned by the government. I could be wrong.
Was it a corporation?
It's corporate, yeah. The government's a corporation, so it's kind of privatised. It's a messy business.
Aren't we corporations?
Yeah, probably.
Dead entities.
Dutch Jan says, how many do I need to go pro for monitors? I think probably 8. So you can see like a spider. Thanks, Aletta. Oh dear. Right, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, I think. So, I've lost the words now, a little bit. Oh, I bought myself a new toy. A DJI Action 4. It was reduced quite heavily because the Action 5 has literally just come out like a day after I bought this. So this was reduced by about £100. So it's basically an action camera, but it's waterproof. And this is going to be quite handy because there's some content when I'm making it. I really want to get the camera closer. But with the camera I use, the Lumix camera, it's always a little bit big and bulky. And I've got my Pocket 2 camera, which again is kind of a gimbal thing, so it's a little bit bigger. Whereas this is a bit smaller, so I can get the camera into places a little bit better, get some better close-ups. So yeah, I've wanted to get an action camera for ages, a decent one, which actually has like a good image quality. So I've got that, the Action 4, and it's pretty cool because you've got a screen on the back, so you can see what you're filming, but it's also got a screen on the front as well. So if you're doing stuff and you're talking to the camera, you can see if you're framed correctly, which is yeah, pretty cool. And it's also got like a leveling thing, so even if you shake it around like that, it remains level. Yeah, good stuff. I'm pretty happy with it. Angels took it on holiday with her. As soon as I got it, she took it
That's why you had to buy
on
it the day
holiday.
before.
So I had to buy it the day before because she wanted to go on holiday. But yeah, it's pretty cool, and it's
It
got.
survived the holiday.
It survived the holiday,
Poor
and
Angel.
and it went underwater, doing some underwater footage without having any additional accessories. Literally, you can just take it like this and throw it in the water, and it works fine. So yeah, hopefully you'll be getting some footage of that soon. Trying to get some more car footage, do some more DIY on the car, and possibly DIY around the house. So I can leave that set up somewhere, just doing some time lapses, that sort of stuff, and possibly for builds as well. So I've always wanted to do some time lapse build stuff, because I've never really done that. I think I did it once, but I know you like, well, I know a lot of people do like that sort of stuff. So anyway, it's something which I wanted to add to the mix. So there we go. Let's have a look, see if there's any other questions we can get on with before we start taking a look at the Keychron stuff. Now, I will say, full disclosure, the Keychron stuff, we are affiliates. So if you purchase anything through the links, we will make a small commission. Doesn't cost you anything extra. There's nothing shady going on. It's just the way that life works sometimes. And I won't recommend something that I don't actually like, or I will give you a very good reason of why I don't like the specific version and why you might want to try an alternative. So I just wanted to make that very clear, because there's a lot of people that do kind of affiliated videos and sponsored videos and that kind of stuff, and they rave about it and say something's really good. And I always wonder, is that really how they feel? Now, hopefully you lot know me well enough that if I don't like something or I prefer something else, I will say so. So the reason why I'm saying this is because the Keychron V4 is a 60% keyboard, which I don't like personally. I miss arrow keys. Now, there is a way you can still use arrow keys by using the function key, and you can use other keys on the keyboard. But I'm old-fashioned, I do like arrow keys, and ideally, if I can, I will try and use a full-size keyboard, because number pad, arrow keys, delete key, etc. It's just what I'm used to. I've been using the keyboard now for... How old am I? I've probably been using a keyboard now for the best part of 40 years. Possibly longer. So that's a long time to be using a keyboard, and generally they've all been pretty much full-size keyboards. So, there you go.
Keychron based?
Keychron, I'm not sure actually. Keychron, I'm imagining, are going to be in Taiwan, I would have thought. See it probably says made in China.
So
Yeah.
ordering from Keychron, how much is postage-ish?
Right, if you're ordering from Keychron, it depends where you are. If you're ordering from the UK, potentially you might get free postage, or it will differ depending on what you're on. I think if you want expedited postage,
Rasher's saying
about £6.
it's out of stock on Amazon UK,
Ah, right.
and the only Amazon that have it is Amazon DE for €99.
Well, the V4 at the moment, the Keychron V4, if you go over to the UK link in the video description at the moment, it'll be, I think it's one of the top ones. I'm pretty sure this at the moment is in the region of about £60, which I thought of it at the time because I thought that's ironic. 60% keyboard and it's £60. So I'm not too sure what that's going to work out in euros. There is also a discount code which you can use for Keychron. Just type in Mike. I think it's Mike. Is it Mike for Keychron?
I thought it was Mike's Unboxing.
It might be Mike's Unboxing. So try either. But
Hold on.
you can potentially get either a 5 or 10% discount. I know as well, if you go over to the site from the links, it will then pop up on the screen that you can get
Mike's Unboxing.
Mike's Unboxing is the discount code.
5% off.
See what happens. You might be able to get a discount there. But at the moment, Keychron, they've got like 3 or 4 series of keyboards. So they've got the V series, the Q series, the C series, and the K series. So the K series is, I think, is the top of the range. The Q, I think, is... No, actually, I'm losing it now. I know for the V version is the value one. So if you want the budget ones, go for the V series. They're going to be the cheaper ones overall. So the V4 is a 60% keyboard, and we're going to take a look at it now, because I've not actually had much of a look at this. I've done a review already of the mouse, the M3 mouse. This thing is stunning. This is great.
Apparently it's not available in Germany and it's not available in UK.
Who's saying that?
Lots.
They should be... If you're going for the Amazon links, it might not be. Go for the Keychron links and you should be fine. But you may need to go to keychron.com rather than the UK version. That's the unfortunate thing. Again, because of the way that the EU and the UK have kind of split, the UK is now kind of really isolated in terms of what companies are doing. So like different prices, even different websites, just to kind of separate the different issues, which is a bit of a nose. Yes, Kath?
Nick Barnes.
What?
905.
905. Nick Barnes.
Bit off topic, but
Does it make much difference buying a PSU old standard or ATX 3.0 12 volt? No, doesn't really make much difference, Nick. You'll be fine. Alessa says, that's why I like Mike. He will call a rat a rat. So, Keychron V4. Let's have a look at this thing. Actually, let's put the overhead camera on. That's going to be easier, isn't it? So, this is specifically the UK version. So hopefully you can see that okay. One of the cool things about Keychron is the fact that the keyboards are open source, customizable, and also they are completely customizable as well. So you can buy this like I've got this here. So this is the pre-built version. You can also buy it in kit form. So you can just buy the frame, the surround, you can buy separate key switches, keycaps, all that kind of stuff. Or if you don't want to go through all that aggro, you can get them to do all the hard work for you. So that's one of the key things. Other things, dual compatibility, which is quite a rare thing. So this is compatible with Macintosh or Windows PCs, also Android as well. There's actually a physical switch on there which switches the keys around so they work properly with macOS or for Windows, depending which you're going to use. Completely open source firmware, hot swappable keys and key switches, screw-in stabilizers rather than push-ins, so nice and strong stabilizers. You've got your lighting effects, and also you've got sound absorbing foam, which is pretty commonplace, to be fair, on most mechanical keyboards these days. Other nice features you do always get from everyone, you get a quick start guide, which is quite useful, so it tells you where to plug things in. Also, if you're going to be swapping over the alternate keys for Option or Command for Mac, you're going to do for Windows and Alt, so it tells you where they go, so just taking the guesswork out of it. And also there's a tutorial on the back as well, should you want to know. Also, the firmware has 5 or 4 layers, so the actual keyboard itself is programmable on 4 layers. So like all the keys, that's 1 layer. Press the modifier, like the function, that is your 2nd layer. And you can do that between 2 lots, so Windows and Mac, so you've got 4 layers. You get the user manual, as you'd expect. You also get a guide saying how to replace the switches correctly, making sure you don't have bent pins, and making sure to be gentle when you're inserting them so they don't break. You get a keycap puller. You get a bunch of keys, spare keys. So these are the ones for Macintosh or for different areas. So if you're in America and you're not using the UK pound sign, then they come with all those. You've got the command keys, escape keys, you can toggle those, etc. You get a nice braided cable, which is USB Type-C to USB Type-C, and also comes with a USB Type-C to Type-A adapter if you've got a PC which doesn't have USB Type-C or whatever. So nice cable, 1.8 meters in length. You also get screwdriver, spare screws, hex wrench or Allen key as we call them here in the UK, and also a switch puller as well. So because this is a DIY keyboard of sorts, it does mean you can completely disassemble it and it isn't going to affect your warranty or anything like that. So let's take a look at the keyboard itself. And there you go. So this has got shine-through keycaps, unlike the previous one that we reviewed, which didn't have shine-through keycaps, which people didn't like, and I actually don't like either, to be completely honest with you. So that is the 60% layout. You've still got the normal enter key for the UK, and also you've got your UK layout buttons, which, if I get that up a bit closer, you can hopefully see. I'm not sure if it's going to focus, but anyway, you get the idea. Actually, I could always zoom in a bit, couldn't I? Just zoom you in. There you go. So that is the 60% layout. So you've got your normal enter key, and even from the factory, I think it sounds great. It's got a really nice feel to it as well. And no wobble to the keycaps, which is nice. Spacebar, minimal wobble, but no matter where you hit it, still very smooth travel. I think it sounds really good.
Why are 5, 6, 7, 8 different?
Why are the 5, 6, 7, 8 different? It's just part of the color coding. So they've done it to give it a little bit of a, I guess it's like a gamery type vibe. I don't know why they do it really. It's a shame actually they don't, actually it's a lie, they do actually include, no, that's the 2. No, they don't do that. You can with this. This is using the, oh God, what's the layout? I can't think what the layout's called now. It's like, oh, damn it. I can't think what the layout is, or the actual kind of angle of the keys. It's kind of like an OEM profile. And the actual surround, you can't really tell at the moment because it's not illuminated, but it is actually translucent. Let me grab a torch a minute, if I can stand up. Oh, I stood up and it didn't hurt. That's a novelty. So if I get a light and shine it in the side, you can see that the actual case itself is translucent plastic.
Can they hear Otis?
They probably can. Otis!
What is it? Brr. You want to go back out?
So there we go. You can see it is a translucent plastic, as is the back as well. So you can see that is. You can see actually underneath the plastic, you've got the silicone padding. So this is what makes the keyboard sound so kind of muted. Also on the bottom, you've got access to all of the screws. So if you want to take it apart, you want to take the top off, you can do. Comes with Allen key, and it's got the brass screws in there.
Smoked plastic.
So you've got Charles Ballard, thank you. So yeah, you can take that out, you can take it all apart and basically do whatever you want. The nice thing as well, rather than being screwed into plastic, the metal screws actually screw into metal, I'm not even sure what you call it, insert I suppose you'd call it. So the metal screws into metal, so you can really torque them down to get a really nice feel. And it's basically rock solid. There's like no real wobble to it at all. In terms of feet, so you've got options for raising the feet up to give you a little bit more height, and those have got multiple positions and they're all rubber damped as well. Or if you just have it flat, there's still rubbers on there, so two there to keep it nice and stable on your desktop. I think I should get myself a USB cable and we'll plug this in and see what it's like. A USB cable. I bought a load of USB cable extensions and I think I must have used them all. I need to get some more. Where is it at? Talk amongst yourselves a minute. I'm going to find some cables. Where's that bag I had? Come on. No, that's iPhone chargers. Ah, there we go. Got my cables bag. And hopefully there's going to be a nice long USB cable there. Oh, there is, but it's slightly on the red side, but it'll do. Actually, I don't know if that's longer than the one I've got anyway. So I'm going to plug that into the PC behind me. Which can I unplug? Let's unplug that. And plug in the new USB. Oh dear, I think that's going to be not quite long enough, but we'll see. There we go. So there is what it's like when it's illuminated. Kath, could you turn off the studio light for a second, please? Not sure how well the camera is going to do in a low light situation, but hopefully that'll give you an idea. Oh yeah, it's not it's just crank the ISO up. So anyway, you can see what the lighting is like. It's actually got south facing RGB lights. So they're facing the bottom rather than the traditional north facing. But as you can see, all of the keys are visible when the lights are off. So if you're gaming in the dark, then you can see what the letters are. You can see obviously that's an enter key. You can see it, the backspace, that is relatively legible, I think. And even with the lights on, wait for a camera to adjust, you can still see the fonts on them pretty easily. Now of course if you want to, you can change the fonts on this. That is entirely up to you. Dutch Jan says, question on 60%, no F keys. Right, basically everything is F key. So if you press the function button, or you got function and you got function 1. So you basically got two lots of functions. So normal function turns all of the top row and basically anything else into a function key. Because you can program this keyboard basically however you want to using the Keychron or QMK stroke via software, you can make it so that the function keys can make it to be whatever you want. So I think as standard, so backspace is there, delete is function and backslash, I'm pretty sure. Let me just try that a minute. I will try it in the chat. So
we could put tilting What does that mean? Is that, does it tilt?
Tilting?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got tilt to it, yeah. It's got some keys on there. I can't remember what the keys, is it? Function one? No. Function. I did have this worked out in my head. Oh god, I've done something I shouldn't have done. No, that's not working. I can't remember what the keys are, but you can look it up on the firmware software. Function and backspace. Let's see. No, you can program it to do that if you want to, which probably is easier. I know, function backspace is to change the RGB. It's got some nice RGB effects. A rainbow. You can have static colors and that kind of stuff. Breathing. I quite like that. That's quite nice, but it's a bit hypnotic. We already got that one, which is, I don't, is that radioactive boobs or something? Is it just me? Or is anyone else getting that? It's trippy, but it doesn't that look like, it's like a heat map of someone's boobs. You have to let me know in the comments what you think about that. I think it does. Or is that just what I want to see? Maybe it is. I don't know. Anyway, I digress. Polemont says, yes, Mike, it does, lol. Very total recall there, Mike. Nick Barnes says, lol, small boobs. Mookie says, TMI. Click Tech Kev says, did someone say radioactive boobs? I'd buy that for $1. Hey, Kev. Kev always pops up at the most like opportune moments. So there you go. You can take the keycaps off. You can replace them obviously with something else of your liking. And I have to remember now. Is it top and bottom for these? I think it is. Oh, yep. There we go. So you can pull out the switches. The switches are the KLG Pros. These are the browns. You can get this in brown with a little bit of a bump.
William Booty. Or
you can get it with the red switches, which are linear. They are very slightly lubed as well from the factory. So they are factory lubed ready to go, so you don't have to mess around with them too much. And of course, if a switch breaks or dies, you can always swap it out. This is compatible with up to 5-pin switches. So you can put in kind of whatever you want to, really, other than you can't use the what they called what's the ones that have the light beam in them? Optical switches. Optical switches will not function on here, so you can't use optical. But oh, there we go. Switch went in. So there we go. Make sure that's working. Yeah, VVV. So yeah, there we go. It's a nice keyboard overall. I like it. I like to have a separate delete key and arrow keys. This basically was my mistake because I was discussing it with Keychron and asking, I wanted one that had shine through keycaps because I know that there's a lot of you out there that wanted to see one with shine through keycaps, as did I. And they said, well, in terms of stock at the moment, we're running low on stock, but we have got the V4. So I was like, oh great, let's have a look at the V4. And I looked at the V4 on the site, and I looked at the V4, which was the 75% keyboard, which had the arrow keys and the delete key, scroll lock, and whatever it was on the side. And I thought that was what they were going to send me, but unfortunately they sent me the 60% version, which is still very nice. But for me personally, this isn't really my jam, if I'm completely honest with you. And hopefully you appreciate the fact I am being honest. The fact they sent it for a review, I can still go on its merits that it is a very nice looking, sounding and well built keyboard. It's fantastically strong actually, and I think the keys, the switches sound amazing. So yeah, I think it just sounds great. There's my big shiny head. So anyway, there you go. There's the Keychron V4. I really like it. Some of you are going to be 60% keyboard fans, if you are, I think this is really worth looking at. For the price, around about £60, maybe with a bit of discount, if you use the discount code Mike's Unboxing, you might be able to get it a little bit less, or at least possibly get it reduced enough to cover postage costs, which, yeah, I think it's a good thing. I like this keyboard. The fact that the USB, something which is overlooked on a lot of keyboards, is where the USB connection is on the back. Nice and easy to access.
How solid is it?
How solid? It's very solid, and it's built
On the head.
it's built like a tank. It really is, which I wouldn't have thought it would have been. But what you've got is you've got a ABS plastic top and base. Inside there, then you've got a metal deck, then your circuit board, then you've got silicone dampening foam, then you've got some sponge in there as well. So yeah, it's very, very well built. Literally like a tank. It feels a lot. You wouldn't think it was a 60% keyboard when you actually feel the weight of it. And of course, whatever you program in, it will remember what settings you're on. So if you're maybe thinking, well, it's small enough to put in a bag, I'll take it to work, use it at work, whatever. Take it to a friend's, play some games on their PC, whatever. Yeah, it will remember whatever settings. So if you set up your own macros and all that kind of stuff, it stores it on board, which is, yeah, pretty cool, I think. And you probably can't see what the angle is. So when you've actually got the legs up, I'm not sure if you can see the rake on there. So it is quite a significant rake. Because it's a smaller compact keyboard and the legs are basically the same size as you have on a normal full-size deck, which would be about that, because you've got less width there, obviously when you put the legs up, it does bring it up even higher. But you can, if you want to, use the smaller legs, so it's just a slight incline. So depending on your typing style, you may find that suitable. I'm actually going to leave that in there. Is it beer proof? No. But something which is actually quite nice, and a lot of Keychron keyboards will do this. Obviously USB ports are very prone to damage if you're messing around with them or whatever you're doing. Maybe you're just not very careful with your keyboards. Because the way these are built as a kind of like a kit almost, you can buy the USB kind of daughter board, I suppose you'd call it, separately. So if for some reason your USB fails on you, you can either, well, if it's under warranty, obviously they'll send you a new replacement USB board. But if not, you can purchase one relatively easily from Keychron themselves. Or you could probably even make your own if you're that way inclined. But yeah, it's a pretty nice modular setup. Again, for me, the whole kind of 60% thing, being left-handed and also being stuck in the past and using full-size keyboards, for me, it's not perfect. It's got pretty much most of the things which I do like, but unfortunately not having the kind of the function keys and those extra arrow keys. The arrow keys, I think, for me would be the most frustrating one. Like I said, you can use the function key and program it so that some of the other keys are arrow keys, but if you like using arrow keys and you feel like it's something you can use a lot, then you're better off just buying the bigger version of the keyboard. That's my take on it anyway. So hopefully you like that, the Keychron V4. I like the overall look of it. I'm tempted to ask them if they can send me the full-size version as well, just so I can see what that is like. I've got a lot of keyboards here now, so I've got lots of different ones I can try. The Keychron ones are the ones I tend to keep going back to. I use my Asus one, my ROG Impact, is it? No, not Impact. I can't think. The mice are at Impact. I can't think what the keyboard's called. But anyway, I use my ROG Asus keyboard pretty much all the time. I'm finding it hard to not use that. And is my camera... Oh, I need to plug that back in. Excuse me a second. Will I plug that in? I'm trying to think what I did with my other USB cable. I can't believe I'm so lacking in USB Type-C cables. David Underhill says, yes, Mike, the main reason I got my 65% and not the 60% version was the cursor keys. Yeah, I think that is, I think that's a very common thing for a lot of people. I don't really understand how people use 60% on a long-term basis. If it's just a dedicated gaming PC, then it's fine. If you're right-handed, because you're going to use your ASDW, spacebar and stuff. But for lefties, mouse in the left hand, you naturally gravitate to this area of the keyboard anyway. Obviously, you could just not be lazy and shift your keyboard over, but still it doesn't feel the same because of the layout there. So for me, I've always gravitated towards the arrow keys. Maybe you lot have as well. So let me know in the comments, actually, I'll be interested here. O'Reilly says the RK Royal Kludge N80 low profile mechanical keyboard with smart display screen and knob, top mount 75% wireless keyboard, quite linear red switches. Royal Kludge is pretty good. Is that a UK layout or is that a US layout? That was the problem I found with Royal Kludge before. They do a lot of nice keyboards, but they don't do a UK layout. And I do like my UK layouts. I really do. Anyway, with that, let's take a look at the mouse next. The mouse is ridiculous. It's incredible. I like it a lot. You've probably guessed that already. And it's cheap as well.
US layout, O'Reilly says.
Still not drinking tea or coffee.
That's since June.
Since June.
No, it wasn't. It was since May, wasn't it?
May, birthday,
Past
right?
your birthday, yeah.
Right, next up we have the Keychron M3 Wireless mouse. Now, this is actually confusing because there are at least... There's about 7 versions of this available. So I'm looking at the £49 one. So weirdly, if you're in the Americas, this is $50. In the UK, it's £50. Now, if anybody here watching knows about things called exchange rates, yeah, explain that one to me. It must be something to do with import duty or something, but basically, yeah, $49 in the US, £49 here in the UK. You potentially might get a discount using the Mike's Unboxing discount code, again, like I said. William Bodie says, I'll ask again, question, Mike, are you going to do a custom build keyboard in the future on stream one day? I would love to be able to do that. In all honesty, I would love to be able to do that. Unfortunately, custom keyboards are a really tricky thing to do for UK layout. If I could do one and get all the parts and the keycaps and the switches and the stabilizers and stuff for UK layout, I would be very happy to do it. But I will not invest a lot of time and a lot of money to build a keyboard with a layout that I'm not going to use. So that is why I haven't done one. I genuinely, I always look, every now and then I get that urge to build my own keyboard because I kind of know what I like and I know what I want to build, but trying to find one with a UK circuit board, UK layout and all the bits UK is really hard to do. Unless it's like a pre-built one or like the Keychron stuff where they actually do dedicate a lot of time and money to actually do the layouts for the ISO regions. So like Germany, Sweden, was it Finnish, English, Spanish, all those kinds of things. They do various different layouts for that, and they do basically charge the same. They don't charge extra for it, whereas a lot of the companies charge a premium for UK or ISO layouts. So yes, William, I will if I can. Clicked It Kev says VAT. Yeah, I think that must have something to do with it. I'm not too sure how that works out, because you still pay taxes in the US, don't you? But they pay them generally after the fact, rather than we pay it with tax included. So I guess that's kind of where it's at. I don't know. Rasher says, no tea or coffee since June. Cool, I must quit also. Better for health and pocket. I'm daily buying coffees in garages and shops, etc. Dutch Jan says, the Keychron M3 Mini is €65 in Germany. Yeah, going back to that. So there's numerous versions of this. So there's the M3 wireless mouse, which is like the normal one, available in both black and also white. There is the M3 4K, which has got a 4K sensor, so 4000 hertz polling rate. That's also available in black and white. Then there's the M3 Metal, which is the same as the 1K, I believe, or 1000 hertz polling rate, but it's got a metal frame. And then there's also the M3 Mini. So yeah, there's a lot of options here, but I've gone with the kind of the more simple version. So what is the Keychron M3 wireless mouse? Well, it's a wireless mouse, believe it or not. But this has a plethora, big word there, of connectivity options. And actually, let's do the unboxing on the overhead so you can see it a bit clearer. And I'll try and zoom you in. There you go. So there's the box, usual stuff. In the box, you get the mouse itself, which is a kind of semi-ambidextrous design. So you've got a couple of buttons on the left-hand side, and you have no buttons on the right-hand side, but you do have some nice grippy material, which I'm not too sure how well that's coming out on camera. See if I can get the right angle of the light. Actually, I'll angle the light over a minute so you can see it a bit better, possibly. Has that helped? There. I think that's it's gone very contrasty, hasn't it? My fault. Anyway, so you can see there, got some indentations on the side and on that side, USB-C charging, and on the bottom you've got your options for connectivity. So at the moment it's in the off position. Switch it to the left, that is in 2.4 gigahertz mode, and you get all the lights lighting up on there, and it doesn't work because I haven't got the dongle plugged in, so it flashes green to say I'm not connected. So we can rectify that shortly. In the middle is wired or charging, and on the other side B for Bluetooth, and you get the flashing blue LED to say that it is in Bluetooth pairing mode. So you can use this with Bluetooth, or you can use it wired, or you can use it with 2.4 gigahertz. Also on the bottom, you've got your buttons there. So for your DPI, you can switch between the DPI levels, and they're color coded. Those go in steps. You can go up to 26,000 DPI on this nuts thing. And also you've got your reporting rate on there, which will switch between 1000 Hertz, 500 Hertz and 125 Hertz. PTFE silicon feet on the bottom, PTFE Teflon skates on the bottom, which make it nice and smooth, so it moves around nice and easily. Got a nice rolly mouse button, etc. You get the general idea. You know what it is all about, don't you? So this is where it gets interesting for connectivity. So if you're buying a mouse and you're thinking, well, actually, I want a nice mouse for work, but I also want to use it at home, or I want to use it on my tablet or whatever. So in terms of what you get in the box, this has got more connectivity than I've seen ever on any mouse. So we'll have a look in here. So first of all, you get two dongles, which I don't think I've ever seen on a mouse at all, ever. So you get one USB Type-C, and you get one which is USB Type-A. So a Type-A and a Type-C. So maybe if you've got a laptop or a Mac, plug your Type-C one into your Mac and laptop, leave it in there, and maybe your USB Type-A, leave that in your desktop PC, whichever you want to do. But you've got options. Also, they come with adapters, so if you've got the USB Type-C one and you still want to plug it into Type-A, it gives you an adapter to do that, so that comes included. These are all high quality adapters. And also there is a USB Type-C female to a USB Type-A female. Now the reason for this one is because you also get a USB Type-C power cord or power glide cable, which is USB Type-C to USB Type-C. So what you could do is plug in your USB Type-C into the adapter, plug this end into your PC, either from USB Type-C or USB Type-A. So plug that into your computer. You can then take your wireless dongle and plug that into the front there. So then you can have that attached to your desk. So you've got better line of sight for your mouse. Yeah, cool stuff. But then you've still got your USB Type-C dongle, which you can plug into another device. So wireless 2.4 gigahertz, basically every possible conceivable option is catered for there. And of course, if you battery's running flat, unplug that and plug that into the front of the mouse, and you can still carry on using it whilst it's charging. 70-hour battery life with the 1000 Hertz polling rate, which is pretty good. So 70 hours. If you're using your PC 10 hours a day, 7 days, you're going to get a week's worth of use out of it. which I think is pretty decent. So that is that side of it. But then maybe you're thinking, well, actually, I've got my laptop at home, I've got my PC at home, I've also got my work stuff. Not a problem. Flick it into Bluetooth mode and you can pair it with more devices anyway. So this will store up to 2 different devices without having to be reset, which is, again, pretty cool. And if you want to reset it, just press and hold the 2 buttons on the bottom for about 4 or 5 seconds and it'll reset, or you can press and hold the button in the middle and press the left button and it'll reset that way. So lots and lots of options there, depending on what it is you want to do. And I've not got a spare USB port. This is magical. I like this. I'm going to put the I'm going to move the light back because that is a little bit of a nose where it is. Move that up. Oh crap. Excuse the lighting. I know you will. So here we go. So at this point now, I'm looking at my desktop PC. I've already got dongle hell going on here at the moment. So I've got a dongle for my camera, which is overhead. I've also got a dongle for my keyboard and mouse, which is here. So I've only got a USB Type-C. So that's not a problem because I've got a USB Type-C dongle. So I can plug that into there and put this back into G mode, and there we go. We have our lightweight, high performance mouse ready to rock and roll. And I've still got all my other devices still connected. Something which I really like about this, which is quite sad, let's be honest, but is kind of cool as well. The RGB lighting effect is actually quite subtle. And they've done it in such a clever way that regardless really of what type of grip you've got, you're still going to be able to see your lighting when you're actually holding it. So if you've got a palm or a claw grip, you can still see the lighting no matter where you are, and depending on obviously where your fingers rest when you're not using it, but yeah, you can still see it. And it's where we were tracking on there. Let's turn the polling rate up. There we go, that's better. Actually, no. Yeah, there we go. So now I've got my mouse set up, and even on a mouse pad, works perfectly. The sensor in this is the Pixart PAW3395 sensor, which I think is one of the flawless range of sensors. So this has features built into it to help the mouse sensor itself. You've got motion sync, you've got angle snapping, and you've got ripple control. So it's basically got kind of everything you could possibly want from a mouse, but it's only 50 quid, which I think is actually very good value for money. If you look at other mice with similar specifications, you won't find one with the same amount of connectivity and having 2 dongles in the box. I think that is unique to Keychron at the moment. Other people might do it. I think it's pretty good. And it does feel very nice. It's, for me personally, I've got somewhat of a hybrid kind of claw grip. So I do appreciate the slightly higher hump on the mouse because it supports my palm a little bit more, even though I'm claw grip. So it's less fatiguing because I can kind of rest that part of my hand there on the hump. And my palm is actually further back. So yeah, it's designed with, well, they designed it for average users, so average size hands. So if you've got average size hands, you're going to find this great. You really will. If you've got very small hands or you've got very large hands, you may find it slightly lacking. But in terms of measurements, from memory, 125 millimeters long, 40 millimeters to the highest point, and 68 millimeters from the widest points. So you can kind of take those how you go. But yeah, I like the fact that you can still see the RGB lighting even though you're using it. I think that's just a clever idea. A lot of the time you have the RGB lighting like on the back there, especially with like the Asus mice and MSI. In fact, there's a very good thing there. So yeah, as soon as you grab the mouse, that basically disappears because your hand's over it. So you might as well not have any RGB. But if you do like RGB, you do like wireless mice, and you do like saving a little bit of money, 50 quid I think is a pretty good deal. Not massively light, looking at 79 grams. So it's not in the kind of ultra light category, but it's pretty close. And I've just realised I've come out of my control room for the stream. Oh no, we haven't. There we are. Oh no, I have. Oh God. Can't trust me to do anything. There's control room. Excellent stuff. Still there. Pop out chat. Oh, I've broken the chat. Right, that seems to be working. Oh God. Can't trust me to do anything. I'm self-devaluating, as Kath will tell me. I'm trying not to do. So there we go. Let's have a look and see what you guys are thinking about it. Oh, you've seen Davy Jones. You like Davy Jones? Good. Aletta's still using her Amazon Basics 3-button mouse for $7. Awesome. G-Zone has a Razer mouse, keyboard, Razer Ornata V3 and Razer Ballistic V3. Nice. G-Zone says, hi Mubs. How you doing? Dutch Jan says the Keychron M3 4000Hz is €92. I'm not sure if that's good or not. Did I see Dave Aitken in there? Dave Aitken's in there. I just don't get the DIY keyboard scene. Would rather water cool than spend obscene money on a good keyboard. I think I am kind of in the same position as you really with that. I can see there is possibly diminishing returns past a certain point. Like spending over £100 on a keyboard, I start to feel quite twitchy. Unless it is borderline perfect. And even still, I'm kind of still 100 quid for a keyboard. But if you are using your keyboard pretty much all day long, people like Aletta, who writes novels, people like me who are spending most of my day either researching or answering questions or video editing or just typing on Discord, I use a keyboard a lot. So to have a keyboard which I don't like or doesn't work for me how I want it to, it's an investment in my productivity and also for gaming. So some keyboards I've noticed definitely do improve your gaming. Whether it's the response time, whether it's the smoothness of the switches. It's very subtle, but certainly does make a difference. So, yeah, I don't understand why people would buy or spend like £500 or £400 on a keyboard. That to me seems slightly obscene, but having said that, there's people that will spend £10,000 on a new turbo for their car. So I guess it's all down to that kind of customization and personal preference. Some people dig it. Like people will buy a very expensive painting to put up in their house, and majority of people would walk past it and not know what the hell it is and think it's just an IKEA print. But to people who know, then I guess it makes a lot of sense to them. And if you enjoy it, you enjoy it. If it's your hobby, then why not spend the money on it? For me, I'm in the halfway house where I generally don't like cheap keyboards. You can get by with them, they're fine, they work and they can input data. But sometimes you just want to have something which is nice. Like Aletta's one of those prime examples where she'll spend $7 on an Amazon Basics mouse, but spends $150 on a Huntsman keyboard. So you can see where her priorities are. Obviously, she types all day long, making literature, books, ghostwriting, whatever. So having a decent keyboard makes a difference. The mouse possibly not so much, because you're maybe only moving the pointer around to change your paragraphs, which she probably uses tab and hotkeys and stuff. Anyway, that's my opinion on it. I like this mouse a lot. I'm really fussy with mice. Most of you know that. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I've got 18 mice here at least. So I do get through quite a few mice. And there's some that I always go back to. Some of them are purely for cosmetic things, like the MSI one here. The only reason that is there, the old GM50, GM30, GM50. The GM50, the only reason that is there is because MSI motherboard, MSI keyboard, MSI mouse, and it all syncs nicely together. and it kind of looks pretty because you can see the logo on the side. It's very much a cosmetic thing. I was ideally planning to swap out the keyboard and mouse there for the Keychron, but I don't think I can go with a 60% there, because I do use the arrow keys when I'm trying to demonstrate things for making YouTube videos. So that is a real shame. So that is why we are actually going to do a giveaway for the Keychron V4. So that'll be the exact one you see on the screen. I'm not sure of the exact details, but we will be doing a giveaway on that. So the Keychron V4, if you're in the UK, you want the UK layout, we will do a giveaway. Again, not sure of the exact details at the moment. So we're actually going to be doing a bunch of giveaways coming up towards the kind of the more festive seasons. So we're going to have the Keychron V4. We'll have the MSI portable monitor. We'll also likely have the Lian Li 207 case. Potentially we might have some other things as well. So we'll be doing some giveaways. So to try and reward some of our loyal viewers. Although generally the giveaways always end up going to someone that is just new to the channel. But I guess that's the way it is. Let's have a look, see what you guys are saying. So I've just had a big rant. Letter says, where are the kitties? Most of them are eating at the moment. Davey was in here just now. Otis won't come near because he's terrified of everything. Michael Ellingham says, I thought 250 quid on a keyboard was bad enough. People do spend more, but I think 250 quid is still pretty obscene. Who's that? Otis?
Yeah.
There's Otis.
Oats. That way. Are you struggling?
You don't like it. You see his eyes all big. Bless him. There's Otis.
Okay.
Mookie MC says, when I do my screenwriting, I should care about my keyboards, but I tend to type on anything. I do prefer quiet ones, however. Paul Lamont says, I have the glorious Model D wireless mouse in white. That's a nice mouse. I like that, the Model D. The Model D is a slightly larger version, isn't it, of the Model O. I always get those two confused. Mark Berry says 23 degrees C here in Dorset. No heating on tonight. Yeah, 23.5. We started at 22.7, I think it was. It's getting slightly warmer. Lucky Man says, All Hallows Eve might give away free mug with his picture on it, lol. I've been looking to get Mike's Unboxing mugs for to give away, but trying to get someone that makes the mugs which don't look crap and are not ridiculously expensive and also easy to post, because postage is definitely a problem here in the UK, as a lot of you, if you live here, you'll know. Trying to send something in the post which is square isn't easy, because they always assume it's going to be either a small letter or a large letter, or basically then it jumps up to a parcel. Paul Lamont says Mike has just froze. I think I'm okay, but maybe. Let's clear that anyway. Are you still with me? It says I'm still streaming. Alright, I'm fine. David Underhill says people spend around $3,000 or 3,000 Aussie rupees on GPUs but display output on a $200 monitor. Yeah, I get that. Is people do that, don't they? Yeah, I used to find that working in the car shop. You see people, they'll spend thousands of pounds on like an engine upgrade, but then use shitty tyres. Very strange. Very odd. I did have I used to have the glorious Model 02, I think. But like I said, I do like the options with mice. I do quite like the option of this where it has wired and wireless. It's more convenient for me because, especially like in this configuration, whereas I can just plug it in and use it wired on the desk there, or if I'm streaming, I can unplug it and just move it here and use it on the desk, which is pretty good. William Bodie, message retracted. Oh. Must have been a typo. There we go. William Bodie says, question, tonight Mike looks more like Picard to me. Am I wrong? Is my head shining? Okay. O'Reilly says Mike has not as many rants as he usually does. No, I'm pretty chilled out, to be honest with you. I don't know why. There's a lot going on at the moment this time of year. I don't like this time of year because it's just like this is now the lead up to kind of silly season where it just gets, it's like really, it's going to be really busy. There's going to be lots of product launches and it's not going to stop now. As soon as Amazon Prime Day is hit or just before it, then it's going to be October, November, December, January and possibly into February. So you've got a good 4 to 5 months now where it's just going to be constant new hardware, new releases, new products, lots of work to do, which is kind of nice. But yeah. Ordinary Dude says Mike would rant a lot more if he opened the show with a beard. A beer rather, not a beard. Viali says Mike definitely plays PDC darts. I know what you mean. Rasher says I like Christmas. People are happy for a while.
Are they really?
I don't know. Rick Welly Bob. Hi Mike, what are your thoughts on the plastering dilemma you're experiencing? Yeah, that's been another thing which has been going on. We've had our kitchen ceiling plastered and we had a flood in the bathroom ages and ages ago, and the plaster had blown, it absorbed loads of water, so it's like a big sag in the ceiling.
I already noticed.
So we had a plasterer in. He was doing the fireplace in the front room, and just happened to mention, I said, well, how much would you charge to do the kitchen? I'm not going to say how much it was because I think I paid too much, but regardless, so we had a look at it, he measured it up, and he said, well, I'm going to cut out this section here. It's like a 6 foot by 6 foot square, roughly. Cut it out, reboarded it, and then he was going to skim the entire ceiling from one end of the kitchen to the other, just trying to blend it all in. And when it was done kind of partially, just the boarding, I looked at it and I thought, that boarding looks like it's got a lip to it. I'm sure it has. But I thought, he's a professional, I'm just a guy on YouTube, I'll see what happens. So he did it, and he was going to do the ceiling upstairs after. So we had a couple of days for it to start drying, and even on the first day, because if you imagine the kitchen, so we've got quite a long kitchen. It's quite narrow, but it's quite long, and the sunlight comes in from the far end. So it comes in and it obviously hits the ceiling, and if there's anything in the way, it creates a shadow. And immediately I looked at it, I thought, that isn't level, but my back was knackered, so I couldn't really get up there and do anything. So eventually, when my back got a little bit better, I stood on a chair, which I shouldn't have done, and I got a ruler and put it up against it. And there's about, somewhere in the region of about 10 millimeters of difference between one side to the other. So it dips down about 10 mil still. So I wasn't overly happy about that. So I did mention it to him, and I said, look, that to me doesn't look like it's level. And he said, well, I blended it in as best I can. Hey, Poppy. And it kind of, I said, look, I don't think that's going to be enough. What's the deal? He said, well, if you do a mist coat on it, see what it's like, maybe even paint it, see if you're happy with it. If you're not, I'll come in with something called Easy Fill, and you can do something to it to make it look better. So yeah, I don't know what, I don't know how it's going to pan out. At the moment, my back's not been good enough for me to get on and do stuff to it. I was tempted to kind of try and scrape or sand some of the plaster off there to try and level it out, but realistically I shouldn't be doing that because it's not really my job. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. I've got no idea how it's going to pan out. Hopefully it's going to be fine. Kath never noticed it to begin with before it's done, so she ain't going to notice now, I don't think, but I will know it's there. It'll be one of those things. And funny enough,
I did say all along, why didn't you have the whole ceiling done rather than just a lump out the middle? Because it would always be a lump.
But that's the thing of skimming. That is the whole ceiling. So in theory, you have something patched, but you still skim the whole ceiling to make it all level. But if the bit in the middle is too proud, you can't put enough plaster up there to skim it. At least that's my thought on it anyway. So, anyway,
Do you want on camera, Bob?
There you go. So I don't know how that's going to pan out. To be fair, the plaster work that he's done upstairs for the loft hatch and where the ceiling was basically damaged from the water coming in when we had the flood, that's really good. Looks fantastic. I haven't had a very, very close look at it, but it does look extremely level. Done a very good job on it. So, yeah, I'm not too sure. Michael Elliam says, what he said for you to do, it will not work. I personally don't think it will do. But, yeah, we'll see. If it isn't too noticeable... Now, funny enough, I did post this on Facebook and showed people the picture of it. So if you know me on Facebook, head over, you can see the picture. A couple of people who were on YouTube also saw it, and one of them actually did the same on his ceiling and measured it, and he said his was the same as well. But he's never noticed it, but now he does. So potentially it's one of those things which it was just a weird thing, but anyway, we'll see.
But you guys around looking up at the ceiling all the time. That's so bizarre.
Yeah.
I haven't got time to look at the ceiling.
So I'm thankful that I've got the work done, and the thing is, the ceiling I think was relatively sound, but I always envisaged coming down in the morning and finding half of the ceiling and the lighting all on the floor, which I don't want to have that as another hassle. Michael Elliam says he should have allowed for that. I think you're right.
But he's only going to charge you to do any more to it.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. If he turns around and says that I can do it, but I'll have to charge you for it, then I would say, right, okay, that's fine. I won't bother having it done then. I'll just leave it as it is, and I'll make sure that everybody else that I know sees your work and your work ethic. So we'll see. Rauscher says, Mike, can you ask him to fix my ceiling? I don't know. He might make it worse. Anyway, Alexa says, anyone know of a YouTuber or of a fun YouTuber that does GTA videos? Lately, I've been watching a guy called @Hormone and his friends. No, I don't. Sorry. Dutch Jan says, Mike's DIY channel. I would love to be able to. It was funny because actually, when the guy came originally, I said, like, why don't you start a YouTube channel showing people how to plaster? Because I don't know how to plaster. I know the basics. I know the concept behind it to some extent, but there's all these types of different plaster. You've got bonding coat, finishing coat, different types of sealants and stuff. I guess it's stuff you could learn, but it would be nice to have a channel you could go to. I've actually been watching a channel called On the Trowel with a guy called Kirk. I can't think what his surname is now. A guy called Kirk, anyway, On the Trowel. Very good channel. Enjoyed it a lot, actually. So, anyway, yeah. I might end up having to kind of re-skim it myself, although I don't think I would. Kath's just turned around, she's like,
Fucking hell.
She said, fucking hell. That means definitely no, so I won't be doing that. Big Marvinsky, how you doing? O'Reilly says I could probably research it and do plastering. You could. Feel free to, you can try it here. Rasher says plastering is not something you can learn online. It takes a lot of practice. Yeah, I think you could learn the basics and the kind of the principles behind it. But
so can you do soldering?
Yeah, soldering. I've watched so many soldering videos, yet I still cannot solder to save my life. I've actually broken 2 mice, expensive mice as well. Just trying to solder. Not good. Riley says I never said it would be a good job. Rasher says, yeah, like soldering. Yeah, soldering's like, I don't know what it is. Soldering I just cannot do. I've tried. G-Zone, what are the cons of 24H2? To be honest with you, I was hoping that some of you would be able to tell me what the cons are of 22H2. Because so far, from what my experience has been, I've been pretty pleased with it. I'm trying to think of something negative about the upgrade to 24H2. Actually, I suppose if I was being picky, the shared drives. So for some reason now, my Synology, which I've got 2 map drives for new content and old content, so I use them to buffer data around. For some reason, my PC seems to keep on dropping the connection for those. Now, I could just lose it and remap them. Actually, let me have a look and see if it is still on here. Where are we? Oh no, yeah, it's still there. New content, yeah, that is available. There we go. I think my problem was when I did the first H2. No, actually, this is something. This is a bit of a con to it. If you do the Windows H2, sorry, 24H2 update, make sure as soon as you've done it and you've finished, you do Windows Update straight away. Because there's actually another cumulative roll-up update to fix the problems that they knew were wrong with 24H2 release. I know it sounds a bit stupid, but the thing is, Windows 24H2 has actually been out for people to use for about 6 months for the Windows Insiders and also the beta testers. So they know what the problems are with it already. So as soon as you do the update, they knew that the update was a bit borked. So that's why they had a cumulative roll-up update to update the update to make it work after. So definitely make sure you do that. Aletta says, Brytech made a video the other day saying that 24H2 caused his PC to have a blue screen of death. Now, I wouldn't say specifically, but I don't think he did. I think he saw other people had the problem and made a video on it. Because there is a really specific type of setup which triggers the blue screen of death for the 24H2 setup. And it's actually quite a wide base. So if you're on Intel 10th or 11th gen processors with a specific Intel onboard audio chipset, that is what the problem is. And it basically did the same with 23H2 as well. And yeah, that was causing the blue screen of death, at least as far as my knowledge will allow me to know at the moment. So that is what I found. Brytech uses a lot of virtual machines. So whether or not he's using a virtual machine which is emulating that hardware, that is a possibility, which is why he experienced it. Generally, he tends to do videos on virtual machines, so he doesn't have to mess around with his own PC. Now, it could be completely wrong, or it could be someone that he's built a PC for with a 10th or 11th gen processor in. Possibly that is where it's come from, but I honestly don't know. But I think that is the key thing. So if you're on a 10th or 11th gen, there's a strong possibility that you may experience those blue screens of death. Although I think they've fixed that now, or they've made it so that you won't be given the update. Even if you try to install it, it won't. It'll prevent you from doing it. Riley says 24H2 has some security changes. I haven't noticed any specifically at the moment. I'm guessing there will be some things in there. I'm pretty sure they've taken out some of the SMB stuff for networks. I always use SMB3 because that's the safest version. But I'm pretty sure SMB1 has now been removed entirely. So you can't even install it if you wanted to. I could be wrong. William Bodie says Intel CPUs do not have audio, or do they? No, it's the chipset for that generation of processors. Or the way that that processor interacts with the chipset. It's something to do with Intel audio anyway. O'Reilly says local security authority or LSA protection. Right, okay. And personal data encryption PDE. Gotcha.
Be careful on that.
The Bronx 9 says, will you be doing a live 24H2? I can't really, because I've already updated both my PCs. I might do it at some point, possibly. See how things go. Mattis is in the chat. Hey, Doge. How you doing?
You could say what a nightmare it was because you'd done it and then you couldn't reverse it.
Oh God, yeah. My back was still playing up a little bit, and I thought I've got to make a video on this because it's quite topical. And I just did the update on my PC. Normally, when you do Windows 24H2, you can then go in and get the ISO and do an update straight away. But for some reason, there was some bug in it so that I couldn't run the update twice. Normally you can do, like, to do a repair installation, which is quite common because it's the same version. Yeah, so that wouldn't work for me. So I got it all set up, just about to do this video, and then it didn't work. So then, what did I do then? Did I get another PC?
You brought that little one in from front room.
Oh yeah, I brought in my little PC from the front. Oh, it's actually Telly, yeah.
One.
So I've got 3 PCs on Windows 24H2. So the one in the front room, which is the one in that 3D printed ITX case from Patrick LaBelle. Thank you very much, Patrick LaBelle. That one has been updated. So yeah, got 3 PCs on 24H2.
What was it, BB?
And that one is in Intel 12th gen. So I didn't have the blue screen of death on there either. Ordinary Dude says 24H2 removes Notepad. No, I think it removes WordPad. I think Notepad's safe. Notepad is the one which they've improved to have tabbed notes. I think it's WordPad they've removed. I could be wrong though. William Bodie says my Windows PC wants me to restart the PC for Windows 10 version 22H2 for x64 base systems. Is that bad? If you're on an older version of Windows 10, you will be forced to upgrade shortly. It's a mandatory thing. You cannot get around it. Well, there's probably is going to be a way around it, but they're making it so that you can't be on an older version. So you may not have any choice. G. Soton says, yeah, no WordPad.
This chair's so creaky.
Ordinary Dude says, just going from review. Yes. It's easy to make a mistake. To be honest with you, I cannot remember the last time I used WordPad. If I'm using anything for sort of basic text editing, I will use Notepad. If I want to make a document, then I'll use Word.
I use a pen.
Kathy use a pen, yeah. G-Zone says you can use Word if you have a subscription. You can actually there's a new version of Office 2024 which is coming out, which is not a subscription-based one. So it's a one-time fee. So you just pay the fee and it's a perpetual license. You can just use it forever. That comes with Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Publisher, OneNote, Outlook, and there is something else in it as well. I can't think what it is. Not sure. But it basically covers all the bases. So if you want Office Professional 2024, you can buy it as a standalone retail product with just a one-time license.
Don't Premium CD Keys do a...
Premium CD Keys do Office as well. So if you want to save some money, Premium CD Keys can do it as well. Which, depending on how often you reinstall and stuff, if you just want a basic install like Office, I think is about £12 to £15 for the professional version, which is like a perpetual license, which just goes on indefinitely, or until you wipe the PC or whatever. They're about £10, £15. So if you're going to do that, if you're not going to reinstall your PC kind of 10 times, then that's probably the cheaper way of doing it. In fact, I will leave a link for Premium CD Keys in the chat if this is working. Yay! The button's working. Not as it should do, but it's working. Candy, shush.
Let me pick up.
G-Zone says, I pay $5.99 a month for OneDrive 1TB. If you're paying $5.99 a month for OneDrive 1TB, you'd be better off buying the Microsoft 365 Family Pack for about £40, and you get 1 TB of storage for up to 5 users, so 5 TB in total. Okay. I think that works out cheaper. 40 divided by 12 is what, £3 something. So yeah, you're probably paying a little bit more than you need to there. Yeah, that's weird. Was it $5.99? Is that in euros or? Rasher says I pay €7 a month for the 1 TB in Office. I still do. Even though I could quite easily get a Premium CD Keys thing, because I wipe my PC so often, I try different things and different hardware. Yeah, I lose subscriptions way too easy, and I don't want to be that guy who runs like a hooky copy. So I'd rather pay for the Office 365. I have actually started to step back from using OneDrive again. I've uninstalled OneDrive from both my PCs in here. Actually, all three of the ones I did the Windows 24H2 upgrade, I uninstalled OneDrive entirely. And I wish that there was an option that when you actually install Windows, like, do you want OneDrive? Yes or no? Because it's such a pain in the ass having it in there. I really don't like it. William Bodie says, all the cats run away from Mike. They run away to get feed. They run away to be fed. That's what I was trying to say. David Underhill says, I just use Google Docs. Using Google Docs is okay, but using Google Docs is basically like publishing all of your data on someone else's PC. Which is okay if you haven't got anything in there which is remotely kind of sensitive or got any real value to it. I think this whole cloud setup it really does scare me, because most of the time the encryption levels are so low, it's ridiculous. And they say they don't use your data for anything. They do. 100%. Your data is being mined to hell for AI. We all know it deep down, but we just don't want to admit it. So all of my stuff now is on my NAS. Any backups or anything like that I will make and keep off-site, and I'm steering well clear of OneDrive, Google Drive, Google Photos. Although saying that, I did last night use Google Photos, and it was actually quite handy because Angel took the camera on holiday. She has some pictures on there, and her computer isn't set up at the moment, so I said, well, do you want the SD card? I'll just give you the SD card. She's like, well, I can't really see the pictures. So I said, have you got a Gmail account? She's like, yes. So I said, right, I'll upload the pictures to my Gmail account, and then I'll send you a link so you can copy them onto your Gmail account. So in that instance, it was good. But yeah. Ornery Dude says, Unraid. I actually do want to do an Unraid setup. I've seen some Unraid videos from Lon Zeidman. He's got a YouTube channel, he's been around for a long time. Good channel actually, and yeah, he's started using Unraid. And it does look like it's a really, really cool operating system. So when the time comes for my Synology to finally die, which hopefully won't be for a while, I would like to do an Unraid setup. I quite like the way that Unraid works, that it isn't a RAID as such. So that is one of the downsides of Synology, not having the flexibility to just add drives willy-nilly and still have like the parity drives and stuff. So I don't know. Zero Defects says TrueNAS is better. Does TrueNAS do the same thing now, or is TrueNAS built on RAID? Because that's the whole thing I don't like, the fact that you've got to have all these kind of matched drives and parity drives and all that stuff. Whereas Unraid seems to be a little bit more simplified in the fact that your parity drive only needs to be as big as one of the biggest drives in your machine, if I'm right in thinking that's how it works. I'm not an expert out, I'll be honest with you, so if there's anything else that you suggest, then I'm open to suggestions. O'Reilly says, I use cloud storage, it is fine. I think it's, as long as you're aware of what cloud storage is and what it means, then it's fine. But I think a lot of people assume that cloud storage is basically secure storage on your PC, which it isn't at all. It's useful for backup or for temporary storage, but like people that take pictures of their like driver's license and store it in the cloud so they can get it access easy if they need it. It's like, hello, are you nuts? But it happens. John David Sullivan says, hi, sorry I'm late. No worries. We're just talking trash, really. I would like to hear if anyone's had problems with Windows 24 H2 at the moment. No one's said anything so far. As far as I'm aware, most people that have installed 24 H2 have been very positive about it. My experiences with it has been, yeah, excellent. Very pleased. It's made my video editing PC much more snappy, although stupidly, in a moment of madness, I decided to reinstall Armory Crate on my PC for some bizarre reason. That was obviously a big mistake, and it's just made my PC slow again. So that'll be coming off very shortly, again. David Andrews says, cloud storage is useless if you don't have online connectivity. That is very true. Funny, actually, saying that, I should say as well, thoughts and prayers to all those out in America at the moment that have been suffering from the hurricane damage over there. Absolutely shocking, terrible stuff. Yeah, what can you say? It's a very, very bad situation over there. And for those of you that have been affected by it, then yeah, our heartfelt condolences or whatever, I don't know, our sympathies, I suppose. And hopefully you get stuff going back together. But that has actually highlighted something, because there's a few people, this is going back to the kind of cloud storage thing and kind of the digital economy and all that stuff. People that are out in that area, is it North Carolina? Yeah, North Carolina. So people in North Carolina are saying that, like warning people, like, we need to step away from the digital currency and kind of like the online world, because the people that are going to hotels and stuff, because they can't stay in their homes because they're basically destroyed, they're going to hotels, and the hotels locally, they've also not got power or internet. So they can't take payments for rooms. They're struggling to even generate a key to get in the rooms because all of those systems are computerized. So unless they've got like a really robust system of keeping it all backed up on like a satellite system to connect to the internet and UPSs or backup generators and stuff, it can be really problematic. And there's been people that have said like they're really glad that they still have cash, so they've been able to go to like a friend's or something and just say, look, can we come and crash with you? Here's some cash towards like food expenses and what have you. Whereas if you've got no internet and you've got no connectivity, how are you supposed to use digital payments? It's basically impossible. So until they work out a way of actually making digital payments feasible in kind of disaster situations, I think it's still, we've got a really good reason to keep hold of cash and keep things analog. Remember the old card swipe machines? You put your card in and pew, pew, take payments. Old school, but it still works. Lucky Man says, can't beat Revo uninstaller, gets rid of all leftover crud in installed apps. I might give that a go after I get rid of Armory Crate, actually. Dutch Jan says, I'm still on 22H2. Come on, upgrade. Nick Barnes says, no problem with 24H2 at all. Not noticed any changes though. Okay, that's fair enough. Well, I suppose that is like a recommendation in itself. So if you've done an update and you've not noticed any difference, that's probably a good thing. If you notice it being a little bit quicker, that would be awesome. I noticed that the AMD system didn't feel any faster. The Intel one definitely did. Although the older Intel one, the 12400, did seem a bit slower. But it's an ITX system, so it's probably the VRM's burning out or something. The Big Marvinsky says, I saw kids playing outside together as there was no power. Yeah, that's kind of like the 70s and 80s.
That's a good thing.
That's quite nice. Rick says, 24H2 for me, it basically fixed any and all issues with older cluttered versions as well as newer clean ones. Startup speeds have improved and generally made it install. Generally, it's made installs feel like new, fresh. Yeah, I think that's essentially what I was expecting and what I got from my editing system. This feels really nice. G-Zone says, nope, no problems here. Like blue screen of death. I bought new RAM today, coming tomorrow. Amazon 32 gig Kingston Fury Beast kit. Nice. David Underhill says, I have the ultimate prepper communication devices, battery powered ham radios. Cool. Mark Berry says, cashless society is another form of control. Sadly it is, I think, yeah. There'll always be reasons for and against any kind of technology. I think you being able to use cash or being allowed to use cash is something we should all have. I think having a digital currency is a bad idea in general. I can see why people use it because it is convenient when it works, but when it doesn't, you're basically screwed. Matthew Day says Unraid costs money, TrueNAS doesn't, and TrueNAS uses a ZFS RAID Z pool, can have 1 or 2 parity drives to survive up to 2 drive fails.
When was the last time we used a card in a shop? Got to be a fair few years ago now.
Yeah. Pre-COVID, definitely. Yeah, we very rarely use cards. Cash for everything if we can. Keep cash going. That's a good point. Yeah, Charles Ballard says those old credit card swipers wouldn't work today as credit cards no longer have raised numbers.
I think mine does. I'm going to duck. One of them does. One. Well, the other one's your account.
Nick Barnes says, sorry Mike, I own AMD 5700 X3D. So yeah, I think AMD systems are probably not seeing any uptick. Oh, you got raised numbers on yours. When's it expire?
May 25.
Ah.
Do you want the numbers on the back? But yours doesn't have any numbers on it even. They're all on the back of it.
Rasher says, not only control but no tax avoidance. Well, technically tax avoidance, you're kind of... I don't like the word tax avoidance. It's a kind of a weird thing because it's like, well, nobody wants to pay tax. So if you can avoid paying tax, surely you're going to do whatever you can to not pay tax. That is a given, isn't it? But apparently it's against the law to avoid tax.
Unless.
I don't understand it. David Underhill says, I've only used cash once in the last 4 years. Wow. Yeah. William Bodie says, folks talk about control, but most people use a smartphone. There is the real control. Yeah, I think smartphones are one of those things which have been... They are the ultimate kind of betrayal of you, aren't they, really? Because they know exactly where you're going. They can triangulate you from the cell phone antennas. So if you've got a SIM card in, they can basically trace you. They've got browsers in, which can track you and trace you. But it's one of those things. It's like anything, it is a tool, isn't it? It's some people use it as a tool. Some people use it as a security device or a security measure to keep track of your kids, your loved ones. So yeah, it's a very much a double-edged sword. You don't know really, like, there's very few children, I would say, in inverted commas, that don't have a mobile phone. But because of the world we live in, being such a messed up one, kids, well, yeah, we're led to believe that kids can't go outside and play on their own in safety. So you do worry about them.
Phones like Angel had.
Yeah.
Where you could just phone and text and that's it. They don't need all the rest of those kids.
This is true. Oh, something like
I
that.
don't even like Angel had in that, to be honest. But we just never knew where she was.
Charles Ballard says, I'll be honest, I have hundreds of dollars in cash in my wallet. People give me cash for services rendered, or I get small checks, and instead of depositing them, I cash them. Yeah, I think cash is always handy to have. I think if the weather patterns that have been happening recently continue, the UK infrastructure is pretty piss poor. We're lucky we're a small country, so there isn't that much to spread out, but it's still very much old technology, copper cables and stuff like that, which
My
limited.
doesn't even have a signal.
So yeah, if there's any like severe weather in the UK, which we don't generally tend to get, but if there is any severe weather, then yeah, we're screwed basically. And the amount of shops that you go into where everything is electrical or digital, like I cannot remember the last time I saw old-fashioned cash register, but they'll soon start popping out if the electric goes down. Man's Man John says cash is king. Yeah, cash is handy. Like we had a wood burner put in a week or two ago, and we got a small discount because we used cash. Now that's quite handy because he doesn't have to pay money to put that through like a credit card processing thing. If you're a small business, you have to use a card payment machine. They take a percentage, or if you're doing a PayPal transaction, they take a percentage. If you're doing it through, I don't know, whatever it is. they always take a cut of the
What
process.
was it like if you had £50 and if you spent £50 on card purchases, there's only like 10 purchases.
Rasher said, "Did you get my PayPal?"
Sorry.
Kath's not been paying attention.
It's my
Yes, thank you very much.
My nighttime hours go on at 10.
Kath's got nighttime hours on, so
And it doesn't
get notification.
anything.
And I never get notification or anything. Let's have a look.
Yeah, I've got it.
Yes, thank you.
Rasher.
Thank you, Rasher, for your £20 donation.
Let's do the lights.
You better have some lights on for that. Oh, I got a text
Candy.
message as well. Who's sending me a text message?
Disco. Look at this, Candy.
Apple. Your Apple account code. I didn't ask for my Apple account code. That's quite concerning.
Banned you for bad mouth in tech.
There we go. Yeah, there you go. Thank you very much, Rasher. Much appreciated. David notices my card transactions are all the same amount as the cash amount, no fees. Oh, that's good. As long as it stays that way, it's cool.
But when they start charging for tap and pay, because there's no other option.
Right. Yeah, I think we pretty much exhausted the conversation now. I wish there was more that we could go on, but unfortunately Windows 24 H2 has been, I would say, a success. There's no real other news to go on at the moment. My back isn't still good enough for me to start doing a build. I do want to start getting a build. I've got a budget PC to build with a AM4 processor, so I want to do that. I'll probably try and do that on one of the next streams, get that ready to go. Like I said, we've got some cool stuff coming up, so we'll be doing a giveaway for the Keychron V4 keyboard. Also, we got the Lianli 207 review and also giveaway. That'll be coming up soon, thanks to Colin Hilton. Also, there's going to be the MSI monitor giveaway as well. Also, thanks to Colin Hilton. So yeah, some pretty exciting times, and hopefully there'll be some more stuff coming from InWin soon. Some new fans, like I said earlier, for the USB Type-C ones, and some new cases from GameMax to look at as well, which would be interesting if they're at sensible prices. I know with the import taxes and shipping, cases are a little bit all over the place, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see where those pan out.
But Shan hasn't got a phone, nor has a letter.
I kind of wish I didn't, really.
Told you at the time.
Anyway, I think that's going to wrap this one up. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you all for the super chats, your contributions and donations, all that stuff. Very much appreciated. My back is starting to get better now, so I've got a little bit more movement now. So hopefully things will be back to normal. And yeah, there's some interesting things coming out next week, I think, in terms of Intel will be releasing their new processor soon as well. That's interesting. But yeah, a couple more weeks to go. And of course, don't forget Amazon Prime Day. There'll be deals posted on the Discord. So if you want to get any deals, head over to the Discord. Or if you want to post any deals that you think might be interested to the rest of the community, post them in the Bargains No chat room, and yeah, you'll be helping out the rest of the community. So that's going to wrap this one up. I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. And the cats are hissing at each other. Perfect timing. Thanks everyone. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye. Say bye, Kath.